In the last part, we saw Prince Yuwen Yang and Prince Yuan Xiang were discussing about Yuwen Yue.
like a bird on a tree.
That night, Yuwen Yue slept
I'm just
late.
sitting
As the
here.
sky turned bright, he leaned on the side of his bed, fatigued as his thoughts wandered far away.
From
He
up
was
here,
seemingly back in his nightmare,
the world
reliving
seems small.
memories that had been forgotten.
We can sit together. It's so beautiful.
He saw countless
You
shadows
and me.
circling around him as he felt his entire body turning frozen solid.
In the great
A greenish
outdoors.
hand grabbed him and pushed him forward along with the currents. Crimson red blood oozed out, dispersing across the icy water. Yujiu's eyes were bloodshot as he exerted all his strength to pull him forward.
Sometimes
The
you
sun shone through the cracks on the icy surface of the
take a
lake
step back.
as faint glimmers of light appeared under the water. He heard the sounds of human dialogue on the water surface. It was loud and clear as he traveled across the water and into his eardrums. Long live the Emperor!
You and
He knew what was going
me
on.
meant to be.
The people of Yanbei thought that he had died.
The great outdoors.
Those chants were made by the warriors of Yanbei, who were paying respects to their ruler. Those chants slowly increased in volume. Other than that sound, he was no longer able to hear anything else. He had been utterly defeated by his opponent. Since young, he had never lost in this manner. However, now that he had lost, he would be paying the price of defeat with his life. The voice seemed to fade into the distance as his body had long lost all temperature. It was as though all his blood had been drained as oil, as his limbs were completely sapped of energy.
From
Suddenly, a boom resounded. Lifting his head up, he saw that Yuziu was using all his strength to tackle the ice layer above with his head.
It's so beautiful.
Boom, boom, boom. The sounds were like thunder assaulting Yuwen Yue's heart. The blood flowed down from the younger guard, quickly diffusing into the water around. Right now, Yuziu's face was pale than snow, with not a tinge of color left in his lips. He was like a ghost that had just crawled out from the grave. With his remaining strength, Yuziu continued to swim. Even as his limbs started to go numb, he continued to repeat that motion. Once, twice, again. Suddenly, it was like a ray of light suddenly pierced through the cloud above into Yuwen Yue's head. This man before him was his subordinate and had followed him since he was 4. All alone, Yuwen Yue thought that it was only nature that they follow him. Yet at this very moment, he was suddenly reminded of words that a certain girl had told him. In her cold beauty, she firmly declared without skipping a beat, no one was born a slave.
Forever free.
With another boom, another spout of blood splashed in the water. Even in the fresh water, he could feel the boiling blood. His body was suddenly filled with energy again as he swam up, pushing aside Yuziu's bodies. He started to dig at the icy layer with Chu Xiao's dagger. I can't die, I can't die, I can't die. The sunlight pierced his eyes as the fresh air welcomed him. Breathing in big gaps, he desperately filled his lungs with air. Use you, we are safe, he shouted. Staring around, he could not find Yu's figure any longer. Diving back down, he finally found Yu's body in the depth of the lake. The young swordman was covered in ooze, with his face completely pale, eyes staring wide open. His hair was in a mess filled with blood stain. With all his strength, Yuwen Yue pulled Yu's up. The forcefully performed chest compression on the servant and rubbed on Yu's hand and face, hoping to warm him up. Loudly, Yuwen Yue shouted, "Woke up! I order you, woke up!" In all his life, Yuwen Yue had never cried so hard. On that day, he cried for a slave. In the vast plain, he cried like a wolf, howling to the moon. 3 days later, he found Yu Qi, who had fortunately escaped death. This servant had gathered the remnants of the Yu gangs and had searched for Yuwen Yue for 3 full days. There were over 20 guards who had frozen to death because they had repeatedly dived into the freezed water to look for him, after which they had brought him to the Wulong mountain. Only after half a year later did he make a full recovery, yet he was faced with a broken future. On that fateful day, he stared at the intel that Yu Qi and the other Yu girls had brought back from sunrise to sunset. His teacher walked in and looked at the map of the West Meg continent that was hung before Yuwen Yue, before calmly asking, "To where do you intend to go?" Yuwen Yue felt a sense of lostness that he had never felt for years. Lifting up his head, he replied, "Teacher, I have nowhere to go." The old man, whose hair had already turned into a beautiful silver, gently smiled before he stretched out his lanky palm. With one quick strike, he shattered the Wengming continent that was on the map, turning that part of the map into a gigantic hole, leaving behind only the Quang Rong territory, the sea to the southeast, and the barren lands of the west. Now, we saw that Princess Nalan want to send a marriage proposal to Yuwen Yue. Will Yuwen Yue accept the marriage proposal of Song Empire and marry Princess Nalan Huang Yi? We will see that in our next part. Till then, stay with me and subscribe to the channel. Please don't forget to like this video. Thank you.